Hi, so in this video I'm going to talk about variable and how to print out different strings and variable using put statement. So talking about variable, let's say I want to create a variable called x and store a value called y, and y is equal to 10 and z is equal to x plus y. So it does x plus y and stores the value of x plus y into a new variable called z. If I do puts z, save it, and then I run ruby exercise1.rb, then it echoes out 15. Now, if you haven't already noticed, in Ruby, you don't have to put a semicolon to indicate that one statement is over, that you finished one statement that you want the computer to execute. Instead, when you have a new line, so here from this to that, that's a new line. Ruby assumes when you have a new line that that's the end of the statement. What if you wanted to put these three lines in one line? Then what you can do is you can still implement the semicolon like this, and Ruby would know that that's one statement that it needs to execute, that's another statement, and that's the third statement. Now, because I have a new line here, I can either put a semicolon or not put it. So if I save this and run it again, it's going to return the same result. Alright, so now that we talked about variable, let me comment out these, and let's talk about let's create another variable where we store some variable. So let's create a variable called first name, and I'll say Michael, last name Choi, that's just my name. And if I want to echo out or print out this variable, I can do first name like this, and it would work. If I want to put last name, it also works. So whenever it executes a put statement, it adds a new line. So it added a new line after it printed out the first name, and after it printed out the last name, it added a new line. Let's put another statement. Your name is, I save it, and this is going to have three lines. That's one line and adds a new line, and it puts the first name and adds a new line, and then it puts the last name and adds a new line. Now I can actually combine this using comma like this, and it would do exactly the same thing. So it prints this and adds a new line, it prints this and adds another line, and it prints this, that, and then adds a new line. So I saved it, I run it again, it does the same thing. Alright, but notice that it added a new line whenever it executed this, and what if I didn't want that? Okay, then I can use plus. And let me add just a space like that. And let me make that a little bit smaller. And if I run it, then it says, your name is Michael Choi. It runs that because that's a single string that has been concatenated, and then it adds a new line at the end. Alright, let's try some others. So you can also scroll to the bottom and see different examples. But what if I wanted to say, okay, puts first name is, and I want to put in the first name here, and so this and last name is ... Okay, and there are a few different ways that I can insert the variable first name into this string. One way is I can do pound and then put the variable name here. Pound and then last name. So if I do that, Ruby exercise 1, it says first name is Michael and last name is Choi. So that's how you can insert a variable value, a string value inside. Another way, which may look a little bit better depending on your preference, is you put ampersand, the percentage, and then S, that stands for string. So you indicate that I'm going to put one string here, I'm going to put a second string here, and here you put another percent, and you return an array. So a square bracket is passing an array, and I indicated that I'm going to pass two values, right? So on the first one, I'm going to pass the value of the first name, and on the second one, I'll pass the last name. If I run it, it does the exact same thing again. So you can either do a pound sign, or you can do percentage S, and then add this value. Okay. Now, let's do another example. So let's say Z is 50, and I say put the value of Z is, now there are two different ways, right? I can do pound, and I can put Z, and this should work. Let's run it. Value of Z is 50, so you can do that. Or you can do percent D for decimal, and put percent, indicating that you're going to pass a variable, and then you can do Z, an array, just with a single value, like this. That works exactly the same. Or you don't even have to pass an array. You can just pass that value directly, and it would work exactly the same. So again, the important thing is you can either do a pound and put the name of the variable here, or you can put percent S for string, percent D for decimal, and I believe percent F for float, and that's how you can embed the value of the variable inside the puts. Alright, just a few more things and then we'll be done. So let's change that to percent %D. So what if I have a string? I want to echo out my height. So let's say I'm really 5 foot, let's say 10, okay, inches, and inches is this, tall, okay. If I do this, and let's comment all this out, it's not going to work. It's going to give an error message because when I had this, it thought this was part end of the string. So if I want to display that double quotation, I can put this, I think / or backslash, and then if I run this, now it's going to work. And this becomes important if you are exposed to MySQL injection or know about it. This is one way that hackers can hack into your system. So anyway, just know that that is possible. I can also add a tab by doing /t or add a new line. For example, if I want to add a new line after IM, I do \n, and if I run this, it added two tabs here, one tab, second tab here, added a new line, and then echo that statement out. Okay, so play around with this and make sure that you feel comfortable with doing things like puts A, B. Okay, you have to know the difference between puts A, B or plus A plus B when A is a string and B is a string, and then get familiar with pound and get familiar with percent. Okay, alright. This may not seem too important, but puts is very, very important, and it's going to come in handy when we start doing some debugging. Alright, thank you.